My name is Cdale Enick, and welcome to Relay Horse Magazine.
My name is Cdale Enick. Who are the artists in our area making an impact? What is one message you would give to a young, aspiring artist? What are these artists trying to do?
So I'm actually inside of the Stones and Bones rock shop in Billings, Montana, and I'm sitting with one of my good friends, Crystal Hamilton, and she's actually the owner of Stones and Bones. I've asked you this the last time we were talking, and could you believe that I've been here since I was 18 around the shop?
No, it doesn't seem like that long.
And the first time we came here, the door, there was a wall there, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting a tattoo and they came through and I wasn't sure if I can go in here. I thought it was like you guys' like storage closet or something, but it had like a lot of cool stuff in here. And I was like, can we be in here? There's a register and everything back there.
Actually, when this wall was up right here, I sat right here and did tattoos for probably 13 years.
What got you into stones and fossils and things?
Well, my grandparents. Every place my grandparents went, they'd pick up rocks, fishing, or out in the oil field. My grandpa was always picking up arrowheads and stuff like that, so I just always kind of naturally had rocks laying around.
You just grew up in it?
Yeah. And then Chris's grandparents had lots of rocks.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were both growing up in the same kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yep.
So when did you actually originally get your own collection started?
Serious collection, probably 25 years ago.
And when was what sparked the business idea of starting a shop surrounded by this idea?
I had too many rocks at home and nobody to pass them down to because we don't have children.
So you started a shop to sell them?
Right.
And I noticed that, I think the really cool thing about it is you create a lot of your own pieces too. Things like spheres and eggs and jewelry even. And so when did you notice that you can start jumping into the creative side of creating your own pieces?
Well, both my great-grandfather and my grandfather both did the agates and made jewelry out of them, and not quite to the extent that we do here, but so yeah, I've kind of always liked that. I still have the very first jewelry my great-grandpa made me when I was like 4 or 5.
Really?
Yeah.
And what is that?
It's a little peach-colored agate, kind of pinkish peach.
So when did you know that you were becoming creative with creating your own pieces?
Real seriously, probably about 5 or 6 years ago.
How long ago actually did Stones and Bones open?
4 years ago.
And how did that spring up?
We met Patty and Barry at one of the rock shows, and Barry was the nicest person I talked to at the whole rock show. So I called him to get lessons to learn how to use a cabbing machine and where to buy it and all that. And then
You guys just clicked?
yeah, and them kind of the same thing. They have a whole bunch of rocks laying around. And
That's weird.
yeah, and then we happen to be neighbors.
Weird, it's like a whole new world to like all this. It's crazy because when I first stepped into the door, I had no idea about anything to do with stones, nothing to do with any sort of gem. And working with you guys, it's opened up like a whole new world to being fascinated with all this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really different because there's people out there who are also into this, and it's like a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
That people are going to go in the shop and they'll look for a specific rock, or they're looking for some sort of like bone or something, and it's really different to experience.
Mm-hmm.
So was there any sort of weird customer that you ever got that was just out of the ordinary?
Yeah. There's been a few.
You name one?
Well, one lady come in and told me that she went rock hunting with aliens in the Pryor Mountains. There's been a few like that. Every once in a while, somebody will bring a rock in that they think is a human head. And that's pretty exciting.
And they want you to look at it?
Yeah, it's never a human head.
Oh, what is it?
Usually, they're usually like sedimentary rocks.
And they look like people's heads.
Sometimes, but you're kind of preconditioned. I don't remember the word for it, but we're all preconditioned to see human faces.
Oh, yeah.
You look at anything long enough and you're going to see a human face in it.
In a dark space, you almost likely usually see a face in there.
Mm-hmm.
Or in a TV screen, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yep. If you stare at the carpet or the paneling or anything long enough, you're going to see something. Yeah, every once in a while, some people come in with a big mammoth bone or something like that, or, petrified buffalo, or...
And
that's out of the ordinary, I think.
I noticed that just spending time in the shop, you get a variety of people that come in here, and they're always really interesting to meet.
Mm-hmm.
There's not an end of people coming in here who are interesting to meet. It's always someone who's kind of a little out of the ordinary, or someone who's really interesting. So have you made any long-term friends by people just walking in?
Yes. Yeah. There's some people I buy rocks from over and over again.
Really?
Yeah.
So I know that you're also a tattoo artist, and how would you say your retirement would be? How would you word it?
Kinda
retired? I always ask you that. I'm like, are you retired or not?
I probably do 1 or 2 tattoos a month.
Have you ever had anybody ask about your personal artwork?
Every once in a while, yeah.
Want them? What was the last piece you did that was original?
It was something really pretty in like henna across a girl's back. And I call those doodle tattoos. They just kind of give you the idea and the area, and you just go with it.
Yeah.
You just keep building off of, as long as it's pretty and has flow to it.
So you own the shop, you own Bodyworks Tattoo with Chris, your husband. How is it stepping into business to get together in the beginning?
Good.
Just kind of floated into it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we've always worked really well with each other.
And he was talking about you guys used to own a sandwich shop.
Briefly, yeah. Yeah.
How long, where was that at? Was that here in Billings?
Yeah, it was right across the street from senior high school. Yeah.
What kind of sandwiches did you guys sell?
Cold.
Cold sandwiches?
Yeah, yeah.
Like your own?
Yeah, it was like Subway kind of. He'd have different lunch specials, and...
That's really weird to think of Chris in the food setting.
Well, he didn't actually really work there. His brother worked there, and then a girl named Michelle and Angie. So we started our tattoo shop down there, and then we moved up here. And actually, we had 2 tattoo shops at that time. There was this one up here and that one down there, and just so much busier up here. It made sense to move everybody up here and then rent that one out. And then actually, it was another tattoo shop. I think it was Black Sparrow for a while. And then I think it was a sandwich shop, and then Legendary Tattoo.
And they're still there.
Yeah. And when we moved in first, it was called the International Dude.
What was that?
It was a hair salon where they did did hair systems for men. The International Dude.
That's weird.
I thought that was an awesome name.
You should have kept it. International Dude Tattoo.
That is pretty cool.
I bet you got a lot of dudes.
International Dude Tattoo.
Have you always been artistic when you were a kid, and how was it getting into that field of tattooing? Because how long have you actually been doing tattoos?
Did my first tattoo when I was 12.
Really?
Yeah, so it's been quite a while.
Do you remember your first piece?
Yeah.
It was you?
Yes. My mother was so proud.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
How'd you do it?
With a stick pen and drawing ink.
Where'd you learn how to do it?
My grandpa had tattoos. See, my grandpa's responsible for a lot of things.
Yeah, your shop and tattooing.
Because I don't think I ever met anybody other than my grandpa that had tattoos until I was like 13 or 14. And his name was Mike Grumman, kid from Roundup.
Wow. Have you and Chris ever collaborated together on any pieces?
Have we collaborated on pieces? Yeah, we've actually worked on each other's work quite a bit on people, if they're okay with it.
Yeah.
If I have the time and Chris isn't busy.
And
then he's busy.
In the beginning, he didn't actually trust anybody else tattooing him unless it was you.
Mm-hmm.
And then were you the same way?
No, not really.
It just didn't matter?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your most memorable tattoo that you did on Chris?
Oh, on the side of his head. That was kind of exciting.
You have a tattoo on the side of his head?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got so much hair now that you'd never know it, though.
He does.
It's just like some tribal stuff.
It is, yeah.
It comes down onto his... Actually, it connects to that one that comes down on his neck like that.
How was it doing it?
Tattooing on heads is really cool.
Why is that?
Because it's nice and taut, and you got a hard surface to work
Really
on. Because
I noticed that, like, when I got my tattoo on my sternum, it was, like, really bouncy.
That's horrible, isn't it? No, heads don't hurt.
Out of all my tattoos, it was right there.
Yeah.
The worst part.
I think your soul's right there.
I need sternum.
Yeah, that's by far the worst place I've ever been tattooed, too.
So, what would you say is the biggest thing you would tell yourself if you went back in time?
Learn computers much earlier.
Instead of like 20 years later?
Yes. And for life in general, I'd have never started smoking cigarettes. Don't smoke.
I meet a lot of artists, and they always have, especially when they're first getting into that business side or getting into being creative, there's always questions of how to do certain things, especially just personally with artists. So if you were to give any advice to a young aspiring artist out there, what would it be?
I guess just keep trying.
We gotta put that on a t-shirt.
I guess just keep trying.
Put the cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just keep trying.
Guess that's about all I got to say about that.
What was I gonna ask you next now?
It's like an awkward way of saying never give up.
I know.
I like your version.
That's gonna be a t-shirt in the future. Just keep trying. We're gonna put a cat on it with Crystal's head on it.
You're making me cry.
So, what do you who do you think was your biggest influence getting into tattooing? Has that changed over the years?
Who'd I admire? There's an artist named Trevor Marshall. Really awesome tribal work. Yeah, I followed everything he did for years. He's from Australia.
Didn't you get awards for doing tribal?
Yeah.
And how many awards did you guys get actually for doing tribal? And what was the award for?
I believe Artist Choice, People's Choice, Use of. I think I've only ever gotten like 4 or 5 or 6 awards for tribal, and then the rest were for other things. Maybe 10 for tribal.
So how do you get those awards? Like, where does it come from?
You get a victim, get tattooed completely, and then they stand half naked in front of God and everybody on a stage in a big city and be judged. Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So where was yours judged?
I've won in Philadelphia, in Seattle, Denver a few times. Actually, Seattle a few times. Spokane, San Antonio. You get a tattoo that's going to be able to compete, you have to spend hours and hours and hours and hours. And then generally you're doing that tattoo for free because that person's going to have to pay to travel and all that. So that's like a whole winter's worth of weekends that are just gone into a tattoo.
So do you cover them head to toe, or is it?
No, usually it's got to be usually something big: a full arm, full back, full leg.
And they judge in different categories, or is it the whole?
Yeah.
So like the best leg, or the best leg piece and chest piece, or?
Yeah, or like best tribal, best portrait, best color bomb.
And it was yours specifically that one? It was yours specifically that won the award?
Yeah, I've won for different. Yeah, I've got different People's Choice, Artist Choice, for tribal, realistic.
So what sort of music you got going when you're in that mindset, when you're working?
What kind of music do I have going? Honestly, usually Bigfoot videos, scary camping stories.
Is that the whole thing you got going when you're creating art pieces? scary videos, and
Oh yeah, usually.
that's a lot. That's how I do it too. And Alethea hates me for it because I'll be working at something and she'll fall asleep and then wake up with a really bad dream about aliens. This has been really interesting. I'm happy that you sat down with me. I've been asking you to do this for a while now, I think. We just never had the time to actually sit down and do it. We've always been out doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys can check out Stones and Ones Rock Shop at 701 24th Street West in Billings, Montana, as well as Blyworks Tattoo, Crystal Hamilton. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Cdale Enick. Who are the artists in our area making an impact? What is one message you would give to a young aspiring artist? What are these artists trying to do?